Thank you for watching ECSO News, where facts matter. I'm Allison Morgan.
And I'm Amber Southard. We begin tonight's show with a smiling suspect caught on camera. Help us wipe the smile off her face. On September 13th, a vehicle was broken into and the victim's purse was stolen. The woman and man in these pictures used the victim's stolen checks at Navy Federal Credit Union. If you recognize either suspect or the white vehicle in these photographs, call Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP or the ECSO at 436-9620.
We have an update on Operation Clean Sweep's success in Chevalier. ECSO deputies, K-9 Toro, our mounted posse, and 2 volunteers verified addresses and enforced county codes in Chevalier. 2 warrants were attempted and 2 warrants were served. 3 arrests were made and 15 traffic citations were issued. There were 10 code violations and 8 address verifications of sex crimes. 15 code violations and 8 sex crimes addresses were verified. 4 tons of debris were also picked up. Operation Clean Sweep is held in a different neighborhood each month and is so popular it's booked through December 2017.
It's that time in the show again where we bring you Escambia County Sheriff's Office Most Wanted. We have Lene McRae here with us with Crime Stoppers. So who did you bring for us today?
We've got 3 lovely individuals we're looking for.
All right.
First, I'd like to just actually talk about the 4 ways that they can, call in a
Absolutely.
tip. The first way, which is the most popular way, is our 433-STOP.
Right.
It goes to a call center 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You call it in, you get a PIN number, and I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Make sure you hold on to that PIN number. There's no way to
No
verify.
money if you don't have a PIN
Exactly.
number. Yes.
Exactly.
Got
So the second way is to go to our website, which is GulfCoastCrimeStoppers.org. In the top right-hand corner, there's a red Submit a Tip button, and it's the same way. You'll get a PIN number. Hold on to it. I can't stress that enough. Hold on to it, and you'll be prompted, and you fill out information. One of the good things on the website is you can send pictures. So,
great.
that's a fantastic way to share more information with us.
So if I'm in Walmart and I see one of our great kiosks somewhere and I see this person's picture and I think, wow, that really looks like a suspect that I've seen, I could snap a picture and send it in?
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's still anonymous?
Yes, it is. It is still 100% anonymous. We're in the age where we're dealing with the, digital and cell phones and things like that, and it's still anonymous. And the last 2 ways is our crimes. You can text a tip to crimes, which is CRIMES.
Okay.
Put GCCS in the body of the tip, which
right.
stands for Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers, and it comes straight to us.
Wonderful.
And again, that's one of the ways that Investigator Peterson is able to communicate back and forth, and tips and video. Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So, and the very last way is the Tip Submit app, which if you have an Android or an iOS device, just go to your app store, download it, and follow the prompts.
Awesome. And
Great.
is that app free of charge?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, it's free, and again, you will get a PIN number, 100% anonymous, and you can share pictures and video.
Great. So who are we looking for this week?
We are looking for, our first up is Megan Marie Dunavant. She has a failure to appear for battery.
Okay.
Her bond is $2,500.
All right.
Next, we have Bradley Eugene Salter. He has a failure to appear for driving while license suspended, which happens to be the 3rd conviction, and a failure to appear for grand theft, which says ×2.
Yes. Yeah.
So he has no bond. And our last one on the list is Dorn Lamont Ayers, violation of probation for grand theft, and he has no bond.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we believe all of these people are in the Escambia County area?
We hope.
We hope.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
we
So
hope.
look out for them.
Yes, definitely. If again, any of the 4 ways, go to those if you see them, or and we're going to stress, please do not approach these individuals.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's what we're here for, the Sheriff's Office, so contact us or any of the 4 ways, and we'll be happy to come out and take care of them.
And you all have a Facebook page as well. We've been
Yes.
seeing your Warrant Wednesdays
Yes.
up there.
Which is our Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers Facebook page, yes, and I actually kind of work on that, so we'll be probably doing a little bit more for the website, our Facebook page as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for joining
Absolutely.
us. Again, if you recognize any of these 3 individuals, please call Crime Stoppers, and that number is 433-STOP. It's all about SWAT, or at least for those who attended our Citizens Law Enforcement Academy. Week 8 of our 11-week program gave students the opportunity to learn about the ECSO SWAT team. They were shown the gear SWAT members wear when they are called to a scene. Students were also taken outside and shown the Bearcat, a vehicle used when the team responds.
Understanding. They really need to know why we wear it. They see us and it can be a little intimidating. I think now they have an understanding of why we wear it, and I think they can appreciate that.
For more information about our CLIA class, visit our website at escambiaso.com.
National Coffee with a Cop Day is coming up this Friday. To celebrate, we've planned a Coffee with a Cop event at Maynard's Donut Company. The event will begin at 7 a.m. on October 7th. Coffee with a Cop provides a unique opportunity for you to ask questions and learn more about the Sheriff's Office work in Escambia County. Coffee with a Cop events are great opportunities for Escambia County deputies and community members to come together in an informal, neutral space to discuss community issues, build relationships, and drink coffee. ECSO deputies will spend their lunch hour with some special people for the next few weeks. Our deputies are honored to be a part of Beulah Elementary's Lunch with a Hero program. This is a photo of ECSO deputies at the school on September 21st to have lunch with first graders. They'll continue these lunches with students in a different grade each week through the end of October. This is just one example of how ECSO deputies work to break down barriers between law enforcement and our youth.
A few weeks ago, we told you about a national program, Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. The program ran from August 19th to September 5th. During that time, our deputies arrested 20 people for driving while either on drugs or alcohol, and 20 people for alcohol only. Also, 82 seatbelt citations were given.
The misconception that we have a lot is that we won't take somebody to jail unless they're a drunk driver. However, that's a misconception, because a dangerous driver is someone that's impaired. Somebody that's completely drunk is just as dangerous, but impaired driving can be as simple as somebody on medication, cough syrup, or alcohol that they just take, or even drugs, marijuana, for example. A lot of people don't think they can get a DUI with just smoking marijuana. That's something that we can take people to jail for driving under the influence, because they are impaired, and driving a 5,000-pound vehicle is very dangerous.
Sheriff David Morgan honored deputies and civilians for their outstanding acts of service in the second quarter. Our second quarter award ceremony was held September 22nd. A few of the most notable award recipients were ECSO investigators, 2 crime scene techs, and 2 members of our community. In May, the narcotics unit brought down an organization responsible for distributing large amounts of dangerous drugs. Crime scene techs Brent Davis and Christine Rollins received meritorious service medals for their meticulous work collecting evidence in a homicide case. And civilians Haley Odom and Samantha Burson were awarded civilian service medals for rescuing a 2-year-old from a hot vehicle by breaking the window. Congratulations to all who received awards. For the entire list of award recipients and their photos, visit facebook.com/official ECSO.
And Sheriff David Morgan continues his pledge of pumping drug forfeiture money back into the community. Last month, Sheriff Morgan presented the Reentry Alliance program, REAP, with a $5,000 check. The money will fund a project to help former inmates re-entering society.
And here to talk about the Reentry Alliance program is Rick Dye.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for joining me. Good
My
evening.
pleasure.
And tell me a little bit about the Reentry Alliance program and how you got involved in it.
Well, thank you. Well, Reentry Alliance Pensacola is a program that began out of the federal probation system. Judge Casey Rogers felt like there was something that we needed to do to really help these men and women who are coming home. So we picked it up from what the feds were doing and brought it into the county and to the state. And what we do is we assist men and women who are coming home from incarceration after being gone for so many years. Maybe they've lost family and loved ones, and they're really coming home with nothing, and we are asking them to be good citizens. It's very difficult without transportation, without jobs, without information. Our work works with these men and women in getting the answers they need, getting the resources that they need, and then making them job ready. We believe in making them job ready so that they can become more independently from all the helping organizations who'll kind of get them to one point. Then they've got to kind of help themselves.
Right, and so some of the things included in the Reentry Alliance program are transportation.
Yes, we've found that in order for someone to successfully reenter, they need to have dependable housing, dependable food source, dependable medical care, dependable psychiatric care. A lot of these men and women are mentally ill. And then they need dependable transportation. And the last thing is safe and healthy friendships. So we combine all of these things over a series of weeks. Most people stay in our program about 100 days in order to help get them employed. So we spend most of our time getting them ready to become employed, fit physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, so that they can perform and compete out there in the workplace and not only get a job, but thrive in that job and never have to go back to crime as a way of supporting themselves or their family.
That's wonderful. And this has been proven to reduce the recidivism rate, right?
Right. We are all about lowering the recidivism rate. If you can say it, you can come and work with us. But recidivism is that rate of when people come out of prison and go back in it. And it's very high for the Escambia County Jail. It's high for the state. It's not as high for the feds because they stay in there a long time and they really get sick of it. But we feel like that if you can equip a man and woman with hope, and that you can then give them the resources they need to do the things they know, so many of them know they need to do, then 95% of them will get back into a middle-class kind of way of thinking, or can learn a middle-class way of thinking. There is 5 to 7% that are just bad apples, and they're not ready to change yet. And we try to love them through changing their attitudes. If they don't, then the system will take care of it, and they'll be back in jail or prison, and that's a sad day for us.
Right, absolutely. So tell me, how important is the sheriff's $5,000 donation, including other donations that you receive in addition to his?
Absolutely. The sheriff's donation was an enhancement to a program that we've begun, making sure that men and women who are ready to go to work also have the right clothing, the right tools, the right transportation, primarily bicycles, in order to get to the job. A lot of times you and I take that for granted. Our parents always provided it, our grandparents provided it, or we were able to get jobs. If you come back with a felony or with a misdemeanor right out of the county jail, it's very difficult sometimes to get a job. And so once you get one, you have to get there. Once you get there, you have to be properly equipped with the right shoes. If you're in the restaurant business, the right non-slip, construction with steel toe, right tools. You get more money if you come with tools than less tools. And so we are using the sheriff's money in order to equip these men and women who are trying to get a second chance, who've learned their lesson, and who we've invested in keeping off the streets for some many years and put through programs. Now it's time for the community to get a return, and the sheriff has provided this money to help us buy the kinds of things that they're going to need in order to get that second chance and stay crime-free and a good neighbor.
Wonderful. And how do men and women become a part of this program?
They just kind of raise their hand. We'll help any ex-offender in Escambia or Santa Rosa County, but in the Escambia County. If you've been incarcerated either in the county, the state, or the federal system, and you're having trouble moving back into the community with a job, with housing, with your emotions, with relationships, REAP is here for you. We're located at the corner of U Street and DeSoto. That's in Brownsville on the campus of Richards Memorial United Methodist Church.
Wonderful. And if someone is interested in donating to REAP, is there a certain contact
We
or
have a
website
thrift
for them?
store there, and also we have the trucks are standing by, so they can give us a call at 850-832-3014. And we'll be happy to schedule a pickup. All of your household linens, bedding items go to the men and women as they go out in the community. All the tools go to help them acquire jobs or stay busy while we're looking for those jobs. So and then we resell a lot of neat stuff for cash, which then helps them in their bus tickets and other things.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Dye, for joining us today. And we fully support your program, and we continue to completely back you on this.
Well, thank you and Sheriff Morgan for his continued support and your support for having us here.
Absolutely. Now stay tuned for Ask the Sheriff.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked.
My question is about firearm safety and what the course requires, and how are you going to be teaching it, and how are you going to be setting it up?
Tyler's question is one we get very regularly, and it's about the offering of firearm safety courses at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Tyler, we do not, and that's one of our cost-saving measures that we implemented back in 2009 when budgets were a little larger some years ago. We did offer that. Now, you can pick up your concealed carry package, meaning your application for the state, but there are several firearms groups here in town, gun clubs, that offer NRA certified and state certified courses for you to, again, get the required safety training and firearms training prior to making your application. I will also add that if you are an honorably discharged veteran from the armed forces, that all is required to make your application is a certified copy of your DD Form 214. Because why? All basic military members go through firearm safety training and basic training, which is really what is the intent and point of the concealed carry class requirement. It's not to make you an expert shot. It's to make sure that you understand firearms, firearm safety, its safe handling, and to go over the Florida statute that, again, it basically outlines the parameters of when you can and cannot carry and under what circumstances you can carry, concealed, open, and that sort of thing. So, again, I would recommend you get your package here and go to one of the local gun clubs. I know Escambia River Gun Club is one. There are several in Santa Rosa, and all of them that I'm aware of that are here locally are almost all certified. They also advertise on the radio. You've got the gun club that just opened. It's an indoor range out on 29 across from Smokey's Barbecue. That also teaches firearm classes, and they have an indoor range. So again, lots of places for you to get that. And also when we have a gun show, almost every gun show will hold a couple of firearms classes per day. So you'd have 2 chances on a Saturday and 2 chances on a Sunday to attend that course. But sadly, we don't do that at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office any longer.
What are you going to do for the retention of your deputies?
Allison's question is about retention of Escambia County Sheriff's Office deputies. In today's environment, Allison, it's extremely difficult to recruit and retain law enforcement officers, whether it's at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, Pensacola Police Department, and even our federal agencies are having a difficult time now. To be accurate, our recruiting is down 80% across the nation. That's not just Escambia County. That's across our nation. As you can well imagine, because of the incidents that occurred beginning with Ferguson, Missouri over a year ago up to date, that it's difficult to incentivize young men and women to make law enforcement a career. But we have a very robust recruitment program. We're online. We send out our recruiters to the colleges here locally. We, of course, would love to recruit college graduates for law enforcement, but your basic requirement is to be 21, a resident of the state of Florida, hopefully a resident of Escambia County, a valid driver's license, and you can, of course, pass all the academy requirements, a rigorous background check to include a polygraph and an oral interview board to get on the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Our starting salary is mid-range for the entire state. You're going to make about $35,000 after your first year of probation. And then again, we have salary incentives for education. If you have a 4-year degree or a master's degree, we actually pay beginning applicants more for that. If you don't have a college degree when you come to work for us, we also have a wonderful educational program at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office where we will pay for your college if you make sufficient grades. So that's one of the things that we're doing. In our last attempt to recruit and retain our folks, we currently have partnered with the Escambia County Board of County Commissioners, and specifically under Jack Brown, who's currently our county administrator, to do a salary study focused on Escambia County, Florida, and the Board of County Commissioners' salary to see how competitive we are, not only within the city of Pensacola, but throughout the state of Florida for like-sized agencies. And so we're looking very forward to that salary study being completed in 2017 and then working with the Board of County Commissioners to, again, make our salary structures and pay rates competitive with the rest of the state. Our biggest issue with retention, oddly enough, is in the mid-range. When people have been at our agency 6, 7 to 10 years, where they're now coming up for promotion to sergeant and or sergeant and lieutenant, and that's where we're woefully behind the rest of the agencies in the state of Florida. Our sergeants and lieutenants, which is our corporate knowledge in any organization, they've gone through all their probationary periods, they have years of experience on the street and or investigations and other areas in law enforcement, and now they are what we call a hot commodity, meaning other agencies want our officers now because of their proven past performance. And so that's when the bidding wars begin with so many larger agencies that I can't compete with those salaries. And that's not just with our sworn officers. That also applies to those folks who are on the technical side of law enforcement, in our crime scene techs, our fingerprint analysts, etc. They too are hired away from us by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, just to name two. But we're working again every year with the County Commission to get our pay structure again to be competitive with the rest of the state. And so we have an aggressive program to retain and recruit the best qualified individuals to work at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
Do your canines wear bulletproof vests, and if not, why not?
Okay, Brianne asked, do we have bulletproof vests for our canines? Brianne, no, we do not. We check with our canine section, and that's for several reasons. Number one, the dog wearing the vest would also be something for a suspect or someone the dog is pursuing to grab a hold of and be able to wrestle the dog to the ground, which would, not necessarily incapacitate the dog, but would severely limit its ability to continue with, subduing a suspect. And so at this time, no, we do not have bulletproof vests for the dogs. The ones that I have seen commercially, and I know there are some agencies that have them, unfortunately don't protect vital areas of the dog. And remember, a canine on 4 feet is entirely different than an officer standing upright. And a dog and a shooting angle that you would have on a dog, or even in the instance of a bladed instrument, would have allowed the dog to still be fatally wounded or incapacitated, whether they were wearing a vest or not. So at the current time, our canines do not have bulletproof vests.
So I heard that I'm not able to give money to panhandlers, and I was wondering what that's about.
Grace asked about the legality or illegality of giving money to panhandlers. Grace, there is no local ordinance or Florida statute that I'm aware of that prohibits you from giving money to anyone of your choice, whether they're panhandling or just walking down the street and you meet a casual person. What is of concern to folks, if you'll notice the area where panhandling occurs, and that's on our street corners and intersections. So it is important that you know, as someone who has a compassionate heart that wants to give money to someone panhandling, that if for some reason of you, again, enticing or bringing someone into a flow of traffic and that individual is injured, then you could be held liable for that very act of compassion. We strongly recommend that our citizens in Escambia County give that compassionate money to known organizations that have a track record for helping individuals who are down on their luck, whether they're homeless or panhandlers. Again, the Waterfront Mission is one that comes readily to mind that you could give money to, and many other religious and secular organizations in Escambia County. Sadly, when you give money to panhandlers, so many times in our community, as in others, you're enabling drug usage and alcoholism by giving money to these individuals who have chosen to beg for money, as opposed to being gainfully employed and seeking the appropriate treatment to break this lifestyle cycle. So again, there is nothing illegal about you giving money to panhandlers, with the exception, again, of if someone's injured by that compassionate act, and then you could be held legally liable for that individual's injury. Again, I strongly recommend that you give your money to someone such as the Waterfront Mission.
My question is, regarding conceal and carry, what types of knives require a conceal and carry permit, or what types of knives do not?
Salim asked, what is the legal length of a knife to be carried without benefit of a concealed weapon or firearms license in the state of Florida? Salim, the statutes indicate that you can have up to a 4-inch blade on what is referred to as a common pocket knife, meaning something other than a hunting knife. And pocket knives are referred to as folding instruments, and so therefore they're considered more of a utility tool than a weapon. But a 4-inch blade is the max. Now, if you are in possession of a concealed weapon or firearms license in the state of Florida, then that allows you, when you read the statute, to carry many weapons, daggers, dirks, swords, that sort of thing. So again, if you have a concealed carry license, or concealed weapon license are commonly referred to, then that expands what you can carry legally in the state of Florida.
My question is, in your opinion, what are the biggest issues facing the Sheriff's Department at this time?
Aaron, it's a difficult question for me to define what is the singular or one biggest problem facing the Escambia County Sheriff's Office or our community. Again, we could talk about recruitment and retention, which was an earlier question about how do we seek out and recruit and retain quality men and women to enter into the field of law enforcement. We could talk about drugs and the drug activity in our community and how it's destroying our individuals and our families. But I've spoken to this one issue many times with different organizations, and I would probably say it's the lack of parenting in our society today, where we have children and children are not brought up in a loving, caring environment and taught the basic difference between right and wrong. There are statistics that are alarming about children who will drift into criminal activity in their teenage years, making them juvenile offenders, and eventually state a crime to be incarcerated at some point in their life. So if required to really define one thing, I think we need to return to some of those cornerstones that built this great nation and the great societies throughout the history of the world. And that is, again, the caring and compassion of parents and parenting and bringing children up in the ways that are right. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV Tuesday night at 8 p.m.